Hmm. Behaving oddly. Oh well. Oh well. Okay. Hey, Holmes. The OBS was behaving in a very odd way. I have no idea why it was doing that. Hey, Zutin. How's it going? Hey, Miasis. It is time for day 3 of experimenting with sci-fi. Uh, hey, Sofa Strangler, Miller, Finn, Chillstrand, Captain Bose. How's it going? So last night I was streaming a bit and I was experimenting with sci-fi. Okay, something's... So this is the thing I streamed last night. Ended up drawing that one. Hey, Eternal Lady, that's fine. Enjoy your day or evening. You said you were in Europe, I think. So enjoy your day. So this is kind of experimented with last night, but I don't know. Another day. Hey, good morning, Atsuki. All right, so sci-fi. So I was thinking about, okay, narrative or story or what's the purpose and so on, like how to come up with a good process of doing that, which I was experimenting with um, last night. And I think I came to the conclusion that early I need to define what it is that I'm drawing. Obviously, I mean, in these instances, when I'm just drawing something sci-fi, it's never a good idea to just draw something. It's gonna be generic, right? Uh, Cheers, thank you, Captain Boss. Hey, Kasadan, 69. Cheers for that. Um, anyway, so I think one thing I need to do today is to think about purpose. Like, what's the idea? And it's going to be hard to do just randomly, like a good idea. So um, that let's say today I'm going to try with yeah, surface strength, like a purpose of the drawing, right? Like what is the character, or what is the purpose of the character? What is the behavior of the character? Like, is it a, you know, more layers to it before you start drawing. I mean, you could come up with it as you're drawing it. That's also a way to do it. But in order to use it professionally, you gotta, obviously, you have a brief. Hey, Bruno Romanos. All right, anyways, enough ranting. It's 10 past. Let's get it on. So, I'll try to come up with some direction for it. Today, I'm gonna try sketching again. So let's see. Let's make okay, let's make an alien actually. That's science fiction, isn't it? I don't know. It feels, when you're just drawing something, right? It feels like when you don't give it any thought, there's no purpose to the drawing. It just becomes a drawing, right? And I think in order to do something cool, you have to think about purpose, as in what is the character, as in narrative. But narrative is more of story for me, right? It's like, oh, this is a lonely guy who eats hamburgers. That's more narrative. I don't know why I said that, but there you go. Uh, Purpose feels more functional to me. You know, like the purpose of the character, the purpose of its existence, right? So for me, you always got to think. I always got to think purpose, right? And 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 then the design. So usually they feed into each other, right? So the purpose of this character, let's say, is a speedy delivery monster. He's a scout maybe, and those, if you know, if you decide that it's a scout, then there's loads of visual cues you can use to communicate that fact, and a lot of it comes with, you know, like a big expressive silhouette or all these things. You know, a good rhythm of shapes, and the shapes differ on purpose due to the purpose of the character, right? So for Strangler, yeah, garbage burning man boy man thing. That's a good one. Hey Chillstrand, how's it going? Quentin, Mila, all praise Mila, all praise Queen Mila. I don't know why I've been calling you Queen Mila, but I don't know, it's fun. Hope you don't mind. Yeah, so that's for me is always what makes for me what I think that's what makes a good concept, right? So that the idea or the purpose of the concept is clear, a character or thing is clearly communicated at the same time as the shapes and all these, you know, like the technical aspects are delivered. But it's such a hard thing to try to uh, define or master, because there's so many times, especially like if you look back at all the warm-ups, that every time I, for me at least, when I draw a bad drawing, what I deem as a bad drawing is when the purpose of the thing I'm drawing is undefined. You know, like I'm just drawing something. In this instance, I'm still just drawing something, but I'm thinking about that it's supposed to feel like a fast character and a monster, sci-fi, and for me, I think that's where a lot of concept artists fail. It can either be the purpose of the thing you're drawing or a technical issue. A lot of times, for a lot of artists, it's the technical aspect, like be it the actual drawing. Mila the Conqueror. Rule of cool. Yeah. Yeah, or I mean, like I was saying, like you can fail at the technical aspect, you know, the actual drawing, you know, be it color or the draftsmanship of lines or shapes or the thing that Sofa Strangler said, the rule of cool, you know, like are the shapes cool? Is the combination of shapes cool? Is the pose, you know, there's so many factors that can affect the drawing that just starting drawing, you're without um, without thinking beforehand, like what's the purpose, uh, you're starting off uphill because there's so many different things to draw, and and uh, and without having a clear mind in like what you're going to draw, in what shapes, or what kind of character am I going to draw. I mean, that's where I think a lot of people um, find the white paper uh, being scary, the blank canvas being scary. It's like, oh, millions of possibilities. I don't want to start off in a bad way. So I actually don't know what their rule of cool is, um, Sofa Strangler. I define it myself. I'm assuming there's someone talking about the rule of cool, if there is some sort of recipe to it, or is it just the cool needs to be the dominant factor and the rest just will follow? Um, Alms, yeah, I think at least starting to think, starting to grasp a direction where you should be going would help a lot with that blank canvas. And some people need to visually explore that beforehand, like doing thumbnails. Some people don't want to explore that uh, beforehand. They just want to sit down and construct it as they go along, visually, obviously. ASCII, yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way of doing it. Like at least getting a direction, and then as you're drawing it, you're progressing it. Sofa Strangler, right? It's just it doesn't matter. Function or purpose doesn't matter. Just make it look cool. I mean, to some degree, it's true. I mean, for example, I know that they were involved with the cover for the latest Star Wars game, with those blue lights. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to make sense, those blue lights, but it looks cool. Visually, it looks great. So, I mean, obviously, there is some truth to it. Um, and I think there's a risk also, myself, that I'm running uh, when I like to add function and all these things, is that I'm also um, tying myself into a specific path quite significantly as well, which theoretically that I don't really need to all the time, but there is always this risk of doing that when you're overthinking something. So over the years, I've personally, no, that looks stupid. I've been struggling with finding a balance between thinking too much and thinking too little. So it's always tricky, right? It's always, and I think that's one of the beauties about having um, an art career, or or just doing art in general. It doesn't need to be a career, but uh, this whole ongoing, unfinished project of your mind that we keep on exploring it, and we keep on trying to evolve. It's like some sort of I don't know what we are like, but as an artist, we are constantly trying to perfect the art of art. But it's true though. It's true though. Mila, that's nice. Yeah, I think emotionally it's very important to have. I mean, like in your instance, Mila, you say that you try to translate your emotions into the painting, and have that as a driving factor to what your painting is going to end up looking like. That I look so stupid. It was a bad move. Um, I agree that it's a great way of doing things. Some people, can't, because as far as I remember, as far as I think, like having to have emotion to paint something uh, can cause you um, like not to have emotions all the time. Ah, my back is itching, and you require an emotion to produce. And what if you don't have an emotion every day? Hey, Captain Jetlag. Good morning. Yeah, but so yeah, so that's one thing. Hey, Jonathan Hernandez Art. Welcome. Nice to see another face. Yeah, so I think it's a great thing to know that you use emotions as a um, catalyst for creativity. But I think it can also be like, have you ever felt, Mila, that you can't produce because you don't have an emotion? Jonathan Hernandez Art. Today and for this whole week, I've been exploring sci-fi. So today's topic is just sci-fi. Um, and the topic of discussion is the purpose of or what's needed to create art. What allows you as a creative person to be able to sit down and draw something, and that drawing then will come out interesting in the end, rather than just a bunch of lines. So I'm arguing that, for me at least, the need of a purpose to what you're drawing is what defines um, the drawing in the end. Like, by just going blank into a drawing without defining the purpose of the drawing, as in not like I'm going to use this for that, but as in this character is this, or this mountain or this environment needs to be scary, or here's the path. I'm going to draw a path. Um, Without it, it's so easy to just be a bland technical drawing without purpose to it, right? So that's interesting. So as you're starting to define. Uh, I think I think it would be an interesting process, on Discord. Mila, oh, that's interesting. That's challenging, I guess. Uh, Miesis, yeah, absolutely. I think that is a true that is a true statement. But I think what's even crazier is like in their instance, like Kurt Cobain or Lenny Lenny Jimi Hendrix, Lenny Hendrix. Uh, uh, yeah, like the problem there for them, like Kurt Cobain, etc., is that it became a movement almost like the grunge, right? And they expected him to feel a certain way per album, and of course that can definitely take out uh, the purpose of your own emotions to something that um, is required of you. You know, Jonathan or Hernandez, yeah, it can easily happen. And I think that's one of the things I've been ranting about this week. Is like because day one was just a boring technical drawing of our armor. It didn't have any purpose. It didn't have anything to say. So the whole week I've been kind of giving myself thought homework, um, trying to just. I'm kind of doing an open, my cards on the table thought process this week about sci-fi and sharing my thoughts with you guys about how I'm thinking and and I find it an interesting exercise to voice opinions because the more you voice them, you're not just having them internal, but actually trying to make a point with your thoughts. You have to organize them to some degree. How I feel about fine art, uh, I find it very boring. All the modern art is pointless. There's no technique in it. Lenny Hendrix, yeah, or Kurt Hendrix. Captain Jetlag, yeah, I don't know what's happening with Jim Carrey. I think he's just going into a part, acting. I don't think he's real to that degree. I think he's still not. Doesn't feel genuine.
All right.
Hey, Buff Nelson. Oh yeah, rocky around that bitch. Hey, Seth. Uh, if I would normally decide on a design direction after choosing a theme for a sketch like this, organic, biomech, insectoid in this case. Um, yeah, to some degree, I think what I wanted to do was doing a monster, uh, an alien with armor, so it's biological armor, um, and of course I let some of the moves dictate initial moves dictate the direction to spark the idea. So in this instance, I didn't think about other than comfort zone type direction, right? So they kind of kept on feeding into each other. Um, so what I normally do, Jonathan, to give purpose or emotion to my work, uh, I think I struggle a bit with that when I don't start creating uh, direction. So when I'm just drawing something, I feel like it's purposeless. Like last night, some of the drawings, I started out with an idea and I stopped thinking about the idea and just tried to go with cool. And I kind of hated the end result in that sense that for me it didn't have any purpose to the character. It started out well and then it took a bad turn and the kind of energy just ran out of it. So if I would have done it professionally, I would have pushed the purpose. I would have been a lot more motivated in that sense of direction. Because last night I just sat and had a glass of wine and didn't really care about what I was drawing after a while. So it became undefined and kind of fizzled out and then got boring. Uh, so what I usually do is I try to define it, come up with a purpose, come up with a story in that sense as I'm designing. Yeah, Atsuki. Yeah, if you guys remember from the streams about my sketchbooks, I always made little notes, and it was always like, "Where's the character? More character, personality. Think about shapes. Think where's the, you know." It's so important to have some sort of. I made even a note about it yesterday as I was drawing one of those robots. Was like I have to add a relatable face to it. There has to be some connection to it. Uh-oh, Quentin, did you power out? Oh no. Arms, yeah. He was really, really good. Zutun, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do agree to with you about that. Is that it's not fine art. There is no like, oh, I feel like just painting with red today, and then you just paint red on the canvas. Obviously, that is not that because this is way more craft orientated, as you say. But drawings that don't have a purpose or emotion or something that you as the artist want to convey, they're so easily just becomes a boring drawing and just becomes a technical masturbation. Like render the materials or yet another angry orc, you know. And we all have seen those over and over and over again, and they are getting very, very stale. And the market is looking for more than just an angry looking orc, you know. Hey, Gaxix, thanks. Salut. Mila, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's a craft. Um, and that's more obvious in concept art is because it's literally just that you do work for someone else by order. You use your technical ability to technically produce art that is like a product, right? So it's far from fine art. You can't you can't be the arbiter of emotions in all that work, and because what if the client don't like the color red, and you just, oh, I'm red, I'm red today. You know, you have to just be a lot more, like Zutin and Mila says, like craft. It is it you have to detach yourself from it, but you also have to use yourself to create something, which is a really funny, like juxtaposition, right? You paint the motionless helmets. Yeah. Zooted, yeah. He got what looks like a ding dong there. Gonna remove it. I do love this brush, by the way. Side note. And it's so easy to use your favorite shapes. That's something I want to try. I would love to be able to force feed my brain like different behavior. But this, it's so hard to change up what you enjoy drawing. And what shapes you like to draw. Oh, Om's about props. Well, that's props still need to have a purpose, right? So if it's a book, what kind of book is it? You know, there's different ways of doing it, and if you're just drawing a book, then it will be just that. Who of you remembers the Never-Ending Story book with that snake emblem? You know, there's a purpose to that design, and it's just not a blank square or a rectangle book, right? Same goes for, you know, designing a door. The purpose, what's the narrative, what's the why is that door there, and why does it look the way it does? You know, it has a purpose to it. It has a. I mean, you could draw doors indefinitely until you found the door that you wanted, or maybe you could find it way faster and more accurately by questioning the purpose or the direction, or I don't know. I'm not saying it's a solid rule here. I'm brainstorming and thinking aloud, and it's a fun thing to do, to try to um, argue for your theory by questioning it. So cheers for that. Hey, cheers for that, Chisrad. Just mostly random shapes, using just looking at shapes and how they sit together, and not really thinking about what every part is. Mostly, like, okay, I know that here's the ribs, so I can do some rib-like patterns. Here's the armpit, here, you know, and then just playing the technical masturbation game of drawing. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can, I think thinking about purpose or narrative um, will teach you faster to come up with something that by definition can help. Let's say uh, if someone client comes and says, we need a scary, uh, it's a scary movie about a guy that creeps into shadows. And because you have thought about what's scary, what is scary shapes already, and thought about it in different ways in throughout your career, you can instantly say, okay, so what I'm envisioning is like he's partly made out of smoke, like, but the smoke can solidify into spikes, and the director will go, oh yeah, that's a great idea, draw that. You know, just by thinking about that previously and practicing the purpose or the narrative aspect of drawing something, and before even drawing, you can already rely on those experiences and get a faster result, I guess. uh, Jonathan, thanks for joining. Good night. Ohms, yeah, yeah, old paper overlay. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thanks everyone for coming in and joining me in my mad rant. Thank you everyone who voiced their opinion. It was nice to read what you think. Um, have a great day. Good night. See you tomorrow morning for more ranting. Yes. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Um, catch you on Discord. Here comes the outro. Outro time.